Gaza's border, unable to enter despite ongoing efforts. Critical supplies are being sent but are halted, deepening the humanitarian crisis. The delay is worsening conditions for millions in desperate need. This comes as the United Nations warns over 1 million children in Gaza face starvation, with malnutrition deaths rising sharply. Nearly 9% of children under the age of 5 are now acutely malnourished, up from 2.4% earlier this year. Food supplies, including flour, have been collected but are insufficient to meet urgent needs. Let's now have a look at what Farhan Haq, the Deputy Spokesperson for the Secretary-General of the UN, has had to say.
The Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs reports that UN teams were able to collect food aid, mainly flour, from Kerem Shalom and Zikim crossings yesterday. But our partners note that more than 1 million children are bearing the brunt of deepening starvation and malnutrition, with reports of death from malnutrition increasing by the day. According to our partners working in nutrition, in the first 2 weeks of July, nearly 5,000 of the 56,000 children under the age of 5 who were screened for malnutrition in the Gaza, Deir el-Balah, and Khan Yunis governorates were found to be acutely malnourished. This is a staggering 9% rate, up from 6% in June and just 2.4% in.
Meanwhile, Palestinians mourn the death of journalist Adam Abu Habid, killed in an overnight Israeli strike on a tent sheltering displaced families. His sister-in-law pleads, "We are not just numbers." Here is what the family of Palestinian journalist Adam Abu Habid have said.
يطلعوا بعين رأفة إلنا شوي. إحنا مش مجرد أرقام، إحنا مش رقم. هذا أب وراه أولاد، وراه التزامات، عائلة بتستناه، عائلة بدها إياه طول الوقت جنبها. إحنا مش تعداد، مش رقم. إحنا مش حتى رقم بطلنا ننعاد من كتر ما إحنا بنموت. ارحمونا شوي، ارحمونا وبس.
Well, joining us to go through all of these updates that we are bringing you on the situation in Gaza, Martin Saar-Reyes, a foreign affairs expert who is joining us live from Ecuador. Martin, as always, thank you ever so much for joining us on the programme. More concerns being raised about the amount of aid in the Gaza enclave. Of course, UN aid waiting outside the border but not able to get in. What needs to be done in order to improve the situation on the ground for so many and children that are facing such difficulty in even staying alive with the amount of hunger at play?
Yeah, Joshua, absolutely devastating news. I think the only strategy that the UN and the international community can perform is to give Israel a sense of security in order to work together and open the borders in a responsible and secure way. It's absolutely devastating that civilians in Gaza are starving. It's absolutely sad and devastating. I think, obviously, no political pressure will do anything. We have been watching this for all of the time that we haven't been watching this war. I don't think any political pressure will do anything. The only thing that can help this is to give Israel any kind of guarantee that this is going to be watched, that this aid and this food is going to be serving the people in the Gaza Strip, and it won't be used for Hamas, and Hamas will not be taking all of this international aid.
Yes, absolutely. And that is a big concern from Israel, of course, that aid is getting into the wrong hands once it enters into Gaza, but also questions raised about the GHF and the current system in which aid is being distributed. Over 1,000 deaths reported around these aid sites, of course, in a country that is facing military pressure from Israel. The concerns are there. The difficulty, as you say, around diplomacy is that it is stalling. Pressure is not leading to concrete action, with both Hamas and Israel locked in negotiations with no further progress. What does the international community need to do, maybe aside from just condemning what's going on in the humanitarian situation within Gaza? What do the international community need to do to try and push a ceasefire over the line so that this issue can be resolved diplomatically and fighting can end, even if just temporarily for 60 days?
You're absolutely right, but as I said, this is not it's not going to be solved with political or international bellic pressure. We've seen before, no pressure, no hostility against Israel will do anything to help the people in need in the Gaza Strip. We need to focus right now in the way this is being distributed. We need to focus in the logistics. Right now, Israel is very concerned about how the international community is helping the Palestinian people in Gaza, but this unfortunately can be misused for bad means. A lot of means to protect the people in Gaza have been used by Hamas for causing more terror, for innocent civilians in Gaza, for Israeli civilians. So the only way that the international community can cooperate with Israel in order to help the Palestinians is to make sure this is not going to be taken for Hamas, that Hamas is not going to be using this, and that no weapons and no means for destruction are going to be smuggled in the Gaza Strip.
Yes, and
Giving
Martin,
guarantees to Israel, basically.
Yes, Martin. As we bring an end to this discussion, I raised this point earlier in the day, but I want to pitch it to you now. Of course, Hamas, as we know, have been weakened. Iran, as we know, following the 12-day war, their military facilities, their nuclear capabilities, as well as top generals and scientists, have been damaged and limited and weakened as well. Given the state that Hamas are currently in compared to what they were during those horrific October 7th attacks of 2023, do you think that some leeway should be given to the situation given the humanitarian crisis in Gaza?
I think the international community should pressure the authorities in the Gaza Strip that the hostages need to be released. Israel is not going to cooperate until the hostages are not released. So the moment that there's no more Israeli hostages in Gaza, that will be the moment Israel won't have any type of justification to not cooperate with the logistics for aid in Gaza. But